All right. Luke Smith here with Pack Smith Dog Training. We had a good live feed yesterday talking about our Pandemic Puppies series of videos. We're going to be talking about how to do all of this stuff yourself in the event that all of the businesses are shut down, the groomers, the vets, and all of that stuff. So we want to make sure that you have the ability to do all the things that you need to do to keep a very balanced pack inside of your house. Healthy, mind, body, soul, hygiene, all of that good stuff. So we got a lot of submissions in, and one of the most common submissions is people wanted to know how to do nails. So we're going to talk about that real quick. All right. So we're going to go get into the rotary tool because the rotary tool is more complicated. It's not too difficult. You have a regular twist end like this where you can put your tool in. We have a little drum. This is where we're going to put the abrasive material on. Grab yourself an abrasive wheel. They should have two different grits. One will be coarser and one will be finer. And you can use either one. The coarser ones are probably better because it will take more material faster without producing as much heat. So I go ahead and tighten it all the way up. It's nice and snug. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to slide it in there. It might be closed up, so you might need to loosen it up first by turning it, well, I guess that's counterclockwise. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to push this little button. And what that does is it locks it in place. And then you're going to turn this whichever way it needs to go. That'll be clockwise until it's nice and snug. It doesn't have to be ridiculous. It's going to hold on to itself. So then you're ready. You just plug it in. This one right here has got a power switch on the bottom side to turn it on and off. And then it has a spin wheel to adjust the speed. Now we're going to want this to go relatively fast, but not too fast, because the faster it is, the quicker it's going to end up, the more torque it's going to put on the dog's nails, which is going to be uncomfortable. So I'm actually going to run it on the lowest setting for today and see how that works. We also have the regular clippers. Nothing fancy about these. Any one that you get will do. All right. So we are going to get started here. We've got Martha here. Martha's actually
the pandemic puppy Martha.
Pandemic puppy Martha. Yeah. So Martha is our dog here, and she's actually pretty good for her nails. So we're going to work on her first so that you guys can get an idea of what it is that we want to be able to get to. But I'm going to show you a little bit of the process. First of all, I like to have something for my knees because my knees are a bummer. And so what I've done here is I've put the leash up underneath my knee here, and I want it I don't want it tight, I don't want it pulling on her, but I want it to be loose. That way if she does struggle against it, that the pinch collar does its job. Again, we'll talk about the pinch collar on another video here shortly. So if you don't know how to use them yet, maybe wait and don't use them. But in the event that you have a dog that's really struggling and everything, this might be a piece of equipment that you want to get. So when we want to do the nails, we want a lot of times for our dog to set sideways in front of us, because if a dog gets to the point where it wants to bite at us, it's going to come around. But you notice that I'm kneeling on the leash, so it will correct her before she even has the opportunity to get to me. We're going to start with the back legs first. Come here, Martha. If you can get them to lay down, that's fine, but just remember you'll need to adjust the length of your leash. So Martha's nails need done pretty bad. Settle down. Settle down. Lay down. Good girl. If you'll zoom in real quick here. See, Martha's nails are pretty long here. If you get in close, you can see that there's a color change inside of it, and that's what's called the quick. And that is actual blood that runs to the end of their toes to bring nutrients so that their nail will grow. It's very, very, very important that we do not clip this and cause it to bleed. It can bleed even right at the edge where it looks like it's already clear, but it might not be because the nail kind of distorts it. Martha's got pretty clear nails, so it's easy to see. So we want to make sure that we know how to clip them with the clippers. If you have a long nail like this, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to look for that edge, that line right there where the color changes. So what we want to do is we want to get to that edge. We want to make sure that we're plenty far away from the quick, but still taking off as much as we can. Black nails are a lot harder to do. If you're not comfortable with it, I would rather not do it. So I'm going to put the clippers on there, and whenever I clip this, I'm not going to do it slowly. I'm going to do it quickly. I'm just going to clip right through it. So I'll do once, kind of almost straight up and down, and then I'll come at it from an angle like this. And it's a little difficult, but a little bit off the edge, and then a little bit off the edge. This helps us take it nice and slow so that we don't get the quick. And it also will round it a little bit. And then if we absolutely need to at the end, we can take another little bit off the edge so it's nice and rounded. And that's a shoddy, quick way to do it. But if you do this regularly, what will happen is the pressure on the nail from the nail being shortened will cause the quick inside to die and recede, because it doesn't need to bring as much nutrients. And the pressure on the nails from walking will cause the quick to recede. It works actually a lot better when we use the Dremel. Now, by the time we go to use the Dremel, hopefully our dogs are fairly decent at it. Again, we'll start at the back first so that we have the ability to be as far away from the mouth as possible, obviously. Whenever I do the Dremel, what I do is I will hold it real close to the top, and I'll hold the foot with my other hand, separating the nail out like this, and I'm going to take a pass like that. I'm going to take a pass from the other angle, and then I'll take one down the top. So it's nice and rounded and smooth, so even if they touch it with their nail, they're not going to scratch you. When you have a little bit more nail, you'll have to do that a couple times, but we're still keeping in mind that we don't want to take too much off. The other thing we need to be, so I've got it on speed 1. I'm going to need to speed it up a little bit because that's dragging too much. So we want to keep doing this, but we want to keep in mind that all of this friction from the Dremel causes heat. So when we make quick passes, we don't want to sit there and let it linger on there. And every once in a while, especially if you end up smelling that hot smell of friction, go ahead and touch it, the end of it, and it'll take some of the heat out of the nail. And we want to make sure that we do little bits at a time, because if we get too close, as you can see, she started to pull on me, it gets uncomfortable. And then we can just go ahead and do, so now what we can do is we can do either Dremel alone, or we can do just nail clippers, or we can do nail clippers and Dremel. I tend to like to do nail clippers and Dremel, and most groomers will do that. So they'll take the bulk of the nail off and then just polish it with the Dremel. And once you get comfortable with that, again, I'll put my thumb up here and I just kind of curve it. Settle down, Martha. And then take a little bit off the top just to make sure that it's nice and short and clean and smooth, and then you have your nails done.
Ow.
All right, Singe Man here is going to be helping us with the learning how to do nails and learning how to do nails on a dog that's not quite so good. So first of all, we have to understand that the dogs are going to have contexts with certain things. So they'll have a context, like whenever they see clippers, they think of bad situation because somebody had clipped them before and it scared them. Whenever they see the Dremel, they're going to think of bad situations because somebody had Dremeled them before and it scared them, whatever it happens to be. So what we want to do is we want to be able to recondition their mind to think about positive things. Whenever we go through this process, whenever these tools are out, sometimes it takes a while to do that. Sometimes you need to take your time and not move too fast and just make sure that the dog is comfortable with what it is that you're doing. So we go ahead and we can even get the dog primed up by giving them a couple treats. The small treats, there's no reason to have big ones. They do just as much good for you if they're little tiny treats, but I'll end up giving the dog the opportunity to smell on this. And if I can see that they're nice and calm, then I'll just go ahead and give them a treat for smelling. As I go forward, if they can do that regularly without any sort of stress, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, set these down, and I'm going to touch on the nails. But you can see how he's twitching every time I touch on the nails. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to touch on the nails, and if he relaxes somewhat through it, then I'm going to stop, give him a treat. Now, we're not giving in to him pulling. That's number one key thing. If they pull and they get their foot away, then you've lost. And they found out that pulling works, and it'll get you to stop doing what it is that you're doing. So what I'm going to do is just touch him a little bit, give him a treat. We can even go so far as to grab his foot. When we hold the foot, we want to hold it in a ring with our finger. We're not squeezing. We're just creating a ring that the foot can't pass through. So it's really important that we're not sitting here squeezing on the dog's foot. That's going to make it numb, not a good thing. So we're going to create a little ring. And if the dog will let us comfortably have the foot without fighting against us, then we'll release the foot and give him a treat. And then eventually we'll get to the point where we can hold him and also give him a treat while he's doing that. These are all, I'm telling you, the most painfully slow way to step this up for everybody, no matter what problems you have. If you can't get past these steps, don't go further. Take more time. Spend time getting the dog used to the ideas of being able to let you handle them without there being a problem. We also want to be able to do the back foot. In fact, we usually start with the back foot first. But you notice I'm not squeezing on the dog's foot. I'm just creating a ring with my hand that he can't pull the pad through. The foot gets wider at that point. And so if you just hold it like that without squeezing, just hold it like that, then it will give you the opportunity to hold onto the foot without adding extra pressure to the dog. Good boy. And whenever they let you have it, go ahead and release and put it down. And these are all steps that we're going to take to get the dog to be able to just let us hold the foot. And then the next step is we're going to be able to have the foot, and we're going to reach in here, and we're going to be able to touch the nail with the clipper. And if every time we do that, we touch the nail with the clipper, the dog accepts that, good boy, then it will keep desensitizing the dog to the idea of getting the nails clipped. Good. We're going to do the exact same thing with the Drema. We're going to do it off first. Good boy. The Cinch isn't the greatest for his nails. He's a healer, so he does a lot of running, and so he ends up wearing his nails down. So my buddy David was asking about this today, and he's got a husky. He walks his husky like 5 miles a day, so you probably don't need to do nails quite so much with a dog that wears them down on the concrete or wears them down by digging them into the ground, because that's what nails are for. Is they grow so that you can wear them away. So then the next thing we're going to want to do is I'm going to go ahead and have this open. I'm going to turn it on. And if the dog freaks out about it, we're going to wait until it calms down, and then as soon as it calms down, we give it a treat. If it doesn't calm down, keep holding on and just keep letting it happen until the dog at least settles down, so that we can reward it for its calm, not for pulling away, because we don't want to reward the dog for pulling away. So we just go ahead and do that. Now, you'll notice that I have it hooked up to a pinch collar. This pinch collar is actually tied. The reason that I feel comfortable with that is because I'm here and I'm going to make sure that the dog isn't going to get itself hurt. And I'm also going to make sure that it doesn't jump off and it doesn't get to the point where that's going to be a real problem. I'm going to, if he tries to jump off, I would block him, push him with my hands, push him back into place. That's why I've got the chairs set up against the wall. That's why I make sure that they're nice and tight together so he doesn't fall through. And I've got it on carpet so the chairs don't slide. I even got the carpet up underneath the table so that there's extra weight. And that way we've got as stable and sturdy of a position as we can possibly have without spending any time or money or anything like that. So pretty much anybody should be able to do this, even if you got a hardwood floor. So the next step we're going to do is we're going to make sure that the dog will let us actually clip a nail. So he's nice and comfortable right here. That's exactly what I want. So I'm going to come as far to the back as I can possibly get. His nails are black, so that's a little bit trickier. If you got black nails, you want to make sure that you are not clipping them too much at a time. So I'm going to come back here, and he really doesn't like this, but if he were to turn around and try to bite me, which Cinch would never do, then he can't reach me because the thing's tied up. It'll correct it. So at that point, if he turns around and tries to bite me, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm going to stay as calm as I possibly can be. I'm going to keep a hold of the foot, but I'm not going to let him pull out of it, but I'm also not squeezing either. I'm just going to try to keep as loose a grip as I can, and then I'm going to put the nail clippers on the nail to a place to where, you know, in the earlier part of the video we showed that we can clip, and then I'm going to go fast. Good boy. And then if he handles that, I'm going to reward him. You're doing really good today, Cinch. You usually suck at this. So again, coming from the back, he can't reach me, so I can't get hurt really. I'm going to hold firmly, but not squeezing. You know, just make it to where he can't pull away. I'm going to put it here and then snip fast. We want to make sure that it's not too far back, because if we get that quick, those quicks, they'll bleed, and they will keep bleeding and keep bleeding and keep bleeding, and you'll end up having a problem. Not to mention, if you end up quicking the dog, as they call it, then that ends up hurting them and scaring them, and they won't want to let you do the nails again. So we'll have to go through this process even more deliberately if that's the case. So these are all different ways. I'm sure there's more techniques that other groomers have, and we can get these things done. It's just a matter of don't get in a hurry, and don't make your goal to get the nails done. Make your goal to make some progress on their ability to let you handle the nails. So if all I take off is just a tiny little bit, and they let me, good boy, we've made progress. And if they can do that reliably, then it's time to move on to the next step. Get as much as you can, but don't get too worried about doing it all in one day. It's less important to do it to get it done than it is to make sure that it continues to go well. And that's the idea. So I hope this is helpful to you guys. We want to make sure that you guys have the ability to do that. If I need to go in more depth, go ahead and comment on the video and make sure that you ask your question, and I'll do my best to answer it. If I need to make another video, a more in-depth video, I'm happy to do that. If I don't, then great. Also, so now whenever we have got them comfortable on the back feet, which is what we did, then we can go ahead and move to the front feet. And we're going to pay attention to how much they are stressing out. And if they're stressing out too bad, and you've got a dog that you're worried is going to bite, don't do it. Just don't do it at all. Spend some time getting used to the steps, because he's a little tense right now. And I know what the limits of my dog are, and I know that my dog is never going to bite me, despite the fact that my instructor said that he would. And I also know how to clip nails pretty good, and what to do if he decides to get stupid about it. But and what that would be is like the dog tries to get at you, pull your hand away, pull it back towards the opposite end of the leash. That way you can keep your hand away. That way if he comes at me, he'll hit the end of his leash before he can get to me. We do not want to let them win. If they bite at you and you drop the paw and you quit and you let them win, then this will just get worse and worse, and the dog learns that behavior works. And what we want to do is we want to safely teach them that everything that they do to get me to stop is not working. And they can't get me, they can't bite me, they can't pull away from me, they can't do any of these things. But we want to do that as calmly and as gently as we can. With our energy, it needs to be nice and calm. So if you get to the point where you can't do that safely, don't even try. It's better to not try than to give them the opportunity to win. There you go. Same thing with the Dremel. Cinch has had this done a number of times before, so it's not the end of the world for him. But good boy. If you need to take all of these steps and slow them down and give them treats in the middle of it just to make sure that their attitude stays good, that's fine as well. We're not worried about that. Round these off and then we'll be done. Don't worry about getting a whole bunch of nail at once. Just take them little bits at a time. Let it be done, and then come back again in a week or so, or maybe even 5 days or something like that. Don't. And once they're short, once they've gotten to the point where you've gotten shortened up enough, you don't need to do them very regularly. It takes a long time for nails to get too long. So don't take so much time, or don't think that you have to do nails all the time. You really don't. Don't pick your groomer to do it either, because they'll do it and they'll take your money each time. I don't think groomers are bad people, but sometimes they'll just go over it with the Dremel 10 seconds and then charge you $8 for it, or $10 or whatever it happens to be. We don't need to do that. Every 6 weeks, whenever the nails are short, every 6 weeks is enough. So anyway, this is Luke Smith with the Packsmith Dog Training. I hope this helped. If you guys have any extra questions about how to get this done, if you have a very particular case, give us a call, send a message, comment in the section below to make sure that we can help you out the best that we can. I've been doing stuff like this for a long time, and I can probably answer whatever question you need. So love you guys, and we'll see you on the next one.